Hello, everyone. We're today looking at low pressure storm Pat, and Pat is pretty strong. Now, this is what happened. It's currently the 20th, but this is what happened on the 18th. Well, no, it's currently for Anna Katan, the 21st. But yeah. So let's first see what happened. So it was off the coast of Japan. And it actually made some pretty strong winds on the coast, but what didn't actually affect the main city, Tokyo. But it was pretty close to it and affected these areas right here. So let's see what happened. After this, then it got pretty strong. You can now see that there was some pretty strong winds, and then it got incredibly strong, and then you see some red and now some purple. It then moved off the coast, and look at this. It was very, very strong. And yeah. So let's see whoa, look at that. Look what happened there. As you could see, that is very, very strong. You could see that it is pretty big and moved pretty quickly to some places. Let's see where it goes now. Where it went then. Now it's getting really close to Anna Katan, but was not even close to affected and didn't even so far and didn't even have any wind there. People are still not really feeling it, although you could kind of see that the winds are starting to come. Then on the south side of Anna Katan, people were starting to feel it because of the significant waves. And then it got a little bit worse. But for the north side, it still wasn't that bad. For the south side, it was a little worse. Then what happened? It kind of just stayed there, but then it kind of moved. And here's where it starts to get a little dangerous. As you can see, there's not that strong winds, but it is definitely cooling down. So now we're starting to get the strong winds. And the good thing is, it's not so bad if you stay in Anna Katan because the waves are pushing out to sea. And so that might be actually good to move to places. And maybe actually now that I think about it, staying there might not be so good. So yeah. Now we look at the 20th, which was yesterday. And you could see it's getting extremely bad. And the wind hasn't shifted that much. As you can see, now it is extremely strong, extremely huge. It kind of, it got extremely huge. It even affects like Europe and those places. URUP, you know what I think. I mean, I talked about it many times about that. Anyway. Look at this, and now it's not starting to affect as much on the Catan, but now look, see this? Now it's kind of starting over here. A wave is starting to maybe so it's still extremely strong, and now we start to feel the strong winds hitting along this coast. And now here's the thing. Over on this coast over here, there is this is what the water is pushing in. But it's good if you're on this coast over here because there's not if you're like sailing, you might want to actually surprisingly go like this maybe. So yeah. Okay, here I'm gonna do it. You can see it it's now we're almost today, so let's get to today. Now it's today, and let's actually no. Now it's okay. That's today. 3 a.m.'s today. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see that now the really strong winds are coming into Onakatan. So this is right now. So right now the strong winds are in Onakatan, and actually, this storm is so huge. It's just not as strong, but it's incredibly huge. And let's just say you have a flight from let's just pick a random place. Beijing. I mean, from Beijing to Los Angeles. It wouldn't be so good because you go like this, so that wouldn't be so good. It would kind of be that. Yeah, it would be kind of like. I think it would be kind of like, yeah, because that's how I did for Hong Kong. So anyway, now let's see what's gonna happen in the future. You could see another very small, a group of small storms start to appear, but I'm pretty sure those will go away, but I'm not sure. Okay, now it's starting to get better. Not as much on the north side, but still, the winds are still pushing, and it's still affecting a lot of islands. We still have some islands over here that are being affected. Like some of our islands over here, we have some islands. I think St. Matthews might be affected. So yeah, that's not good. Now it's going to start to go up, and now it kind of starts to split up into two storms. This is this is the process of the storm weakening, and so yeah. And here's Magadan, and as you know, Magadan gets some pretty strong storms, but this is going to be another one for them. Onakatan is almost completely in the clear, except maybe if you're sailing north, then it might not be good. So, but now this storm is starting to ramp up. This is going to be our next named storm, which is probably going to be. It's probably going to start with a Q. I think it might start with a Q, and then there's going to be R and S T. Okay, you could see. This storm is. These two storms right here are starting to break up, and this one's going to be the stronger one. This one's going to be probably a little less stronger. Let's see what happens to those two. But now Onakatan is completely in the clear. Actually, was at one point probably having 0 miles per hour. But anyway, it's probably only gonna be. It's gonna be a couple miles. So you can see this storm is starting to ramp up and is extremely disorganized. Though it is extremely disorganized. But does have a lot of yellow and orange, so, and that might last for a long time. So then what happens is that, yeah, this one pretty much is, and then, so now let's just focus on this one. Let's see what happens to this. And then look at this. So there's the point of calm. You can see that here's the point of calm. There's a little opening but is surrounded pretty much by, on the south side, surrounded by this huge, these huge winds. Like, if you just go like 20 miles south, maybe, you'll get some really strong winds. Maybe even 10 miles south. Okay, this is where it starts to get bad. It happens in, like, look at this. So this is what happened. This is midnight, and then this is 1 o'clock. This is 2 o'clock. See, this is probably going to be a fast-moving storm, then. I'm just guessing. No, it actually is not a fast-moving storm, which is bad. Because then it gets to stay longer in Onakadan. And the bad thing is that the winds are really bad. Now, it used to be that it's on this side, and it probably is still going to be on. Yeah, it's going to be mostly on this side. But now it's the super strong wind, and it's pushing all that water over here. Now, it might be good for this side of the coast, but not so good on this side. Now let's see what's gonna, now 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Wow, it's still gonna continue. And here, now there we go. So you can see it made a huge, oh, and here's the big bold of kind of complete silence wind. And then it's gonna get really bad, and, for that place. I think that's parachuting. But let's see what happens now. Okay, here we go. So you could see that there's definitely an eye, and now it's a little bit more organized, but it's still kind of unorganized because you can see there's things. I mean, you can see that there's like winds all the way down here. It doesn't make any sense. So, anyway, you could see that this is lasting for extreme long amount of time. Now the question is, if it makes landfall, then that means that, let's just say, this area, oh no, okay. This area right here lands onto Onakatan, that would make it it will be better for Onakatan. Well, let's see what happens. And as you can see, there's still gonna be extremely strong winds in Onakatan, and now it's gonna last for a pretty long amount of time, those winds. So it's not gonna make landfall. Just gonna be out to sea. And now we're starting to see a little bit of weakening, but it's still extremely strong. You could see. And it is still extremely strong even by, this is 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's still going to be extremely strong. And it's still going to be extremely strong even, like, if you go past these Paraschumer and Onakadan, then it won't be so good because, look, it's very strong winds. Now, eventually, it starts to get a little better, but you could see if there's any trading, then it's going to be bad. Now it eventually ends by this time, and I don't think there will be any more storms for a pretty long amount of time. Actually, no. Okay, so this one's a bad one. Oh my god. Look at this. This affects Japan, definitely. This has to affect Japan. This definitely affects Japan. Let's see this in motion, shall we? Let's see how it formed. Okay. So, this is how it formed. You can see that there's already some pretty strong winds off of Shanghai. This one forms south of Japan, which is extremely surprising. And we don't get that often. Now it starts to get extremely bad, extremely fast. I've never seen any of this before. Like, this is bad. Then here we go. And now then it makes landfall in, what's the city? Near Osaka or Aichi. Near Tokyo, and pretty close to Tokyo. Also, it's not. There we go. Now it's closing in on Tokyo. Look at that. But it's still managing to not get as strong winds as the surrounding places. But look how strong this storm is. This one is probably one of the strongest storms I have ever seen. Look at this. The only reason Tokyo doesn't get as strong winds is because it makes landfall in Tokyo. The storm actually makes landfall in Tokyo. It makes it almost exactly in Tokyo. Then here we go. Tokyo gets affected, and here's the huge storm already ramping up. Actually, kind of in Onigatan. I mean, not really, but this is kind of has to do. This is just not even a low pressure system. This is more like I don't know. Here's this storm, and it looks extremely bad for Tokyo, and Tokyo gets affected like a lot. And we have we have live cams there. There's live cameras there, so like we can see what it's like in Tokyo right now. Let's check how it's in Tokyo right now and how it's being affected. It's probably not so good. We could go to EarthCam. That is not good. That is extremely not good. So, yeah. Tokyo. Here we go, EarthCam, Tokyo Cam. Let's see how it's like. Okay, it's nighttime, but still, you could. Okay, done.
Can you call me Bay? Yes, Bay. Text me Bay? Yes, Bay. Without using my hands? Yeah.
You could see it's calm right now, but it's not gonna be for long. We're still gonna see the live cam come to life soon. So, and then here we go. Here's the extremely strong winds, and Tokyo's still getting affected. Look at that. And also this is getting also affected. Owaki, Madoshi. I can't even pronounce that. Kuro ISO. And all these places are getting extremely affected. And even now, even maybe even some of our islands, even though it's maybe miles away or hundreds of miles away, is still going to get affected. Oh shoot! And now it gets off the coast of Japan mostly, except for the coast. Like, look at the coast. It's not going to be good, guys. No. Here we go. And now here's where it gets extremely bad, and all of this is already extremely bad. I've never seen a low pressure system really hit Tokyo. I've never seen it. I mean, it's probably been happening before, but still, I've never seen it. Now look at this. This is extremely strong. It has a clear eye, probably one of the clearest eyes I've seen. And it moves extremely fast. But here we go. And here's probably one of the strongest parts of the storm. This is where it gets so strong at 1 o'clock tomorrow. It gets so extremely strong. These are probably right here about 80 to 85 mile per hour winds right there. And over here, probably about 60 to 70. So that's extremely strong. Here we go. Here's now you could see it. Wow. Look at this. And now Europe's getting affected. So this is definitely gonna have a big effect on Europe. Hanakatan's just chilling right now. I mean, everyone's probably having lots of fun, but they don't realize that this huge storm is coming to them. Tokyo is getting still extremely affected, actually, with probably about 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. And this is actually, have you realized that this was happening since yesterday or something like that, and is still going on? This is also because of this other tiny storm, but this is not actually really a low pressure storm. Okay, here's Europe in Europe. Here we go, and you could see that these strong winds are really ramping up. You could see this on like a world radar. You could see compared to the other storms, besides this storm, which is much huger. This is probably on the world map at this time that on 6 o'clock, the 23rd. You could see that the only other storm that's huge is this storm, but it's still not as strong winds. It's just a little huger. Perfect. Now, Tokyo's getting now extremely affected. Actually, no. It's getting some pretty strong winds. These are 30 kilometers. That's about 15 miles an hour. But surrounding it, you can see that there's a ton. And now we can see where probably the worst part is, and Onakatan's not even really getting affected. It's just mostly Europe right now. Now, if you get into the center, let's just say you can't escape from this storm and you live inside Europe. What you should do is you should go to the middle of these areas and try to find a shelter, because this is where the least amount of winds are, right there. Those are where the orange is. So maybe that's about 70 kilometers an hour. Now, you can see this is getting extremely affected still. Okay, now here's where Europe kind of gets a break at the south side. At the north side, it's still getting very bad. The same amount of winds are still here, and now Onakatan's getting greatly affected. Now let's see what happens. Okay, Europe's getting much better, but it's only going to be for a short amount of time. And now it's going to be, and now you can see that it's in the eye, pretty much. It almost made landfall. Or it's going to almost make landfall, pretty much. But you're still going to kind of technically be in the eye. The eye's pretty much this area right here where the calm spots are. So if the calm spots are right here, this, do remember, is 6 a.m. in the morning. So, you guys, I don't know. Ooh, this is a huge storm. Look at that. And do be reminded, Tokyo's still getting kind of affected, like some parts are still getting affected. This is extremely long-lasting storm, and here's where Europe gets finally. It doesn't get a break; it just gets a little lighter amount of winds. But you can see the north side of the storm right here has probably the strongest amount of winds, and over here too. And you can see it's actually this storm actually created another low pressure storm that actually affected Tokyo, and now you can see these two are kind of combining. And actually, it's technically just the same exact because it's kind of connected. You could see, so it's pretty much the same thing. You could see now now it gets actually stronger, which is kind of surprising because it's getting in colder water. But it's getting stronger, and now here's the worst part. For Russia. For Russia, it gets much worse because most of the peninsulas, this peninsula right here, it's very bad. And that other storm that's technically connected to this is actually now affecting the north side of Japan. Actually, not really even. It's actually kind of the middle to north side. And this lasts for extreme amount of days. And actually, we found that Onakatan actually is going to have like a lot of inches of snow. We'll show you that later, though. Let's see how Japan's doing. It's about 3 a.m. I believe. If I'm correct, I think it's about 3, maybe almost 4 a.m. So. Now it's actually still extremely strong, but since it's going probably into colder water, it's getting. But now you could see what happened before with that other storm maybe about a month ago. These places have still those huge strong winds, and Onakatan's still getting affected after many days, many days of having this storm. Now this is a breakaway of the storm because you could see it was part of it, or no, it was pretty much part of it, and it's not really a low pressure storm, so it's not really a big deal. It's only gonna affect mostly this side, and yeah, that's it. It's kind of like a barrier right here, kind of yeah. Yeah, and also currently around the ROA, there's obviously the shutdown, the government shutdown, which is definitely not good. Now, Onakatan is finally out, and now this storm is affecting, of course, this place, and it's going to go like this. Let's see if it does the same thing that it usually does. And actually, it does a little bit different. Okay, it does pretty much the same thing. So, yeah, now it goes on to C, and then it weakens completely. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. So, you could see, it's like a war zone. Oh shoot. What the heck? So I want to show you, you could see that it got crazy in its keep. stuff or whatever. And the first time Anna Katan got affected by this storm was about at about 6 o'clock, the 23rd, and it ended. Wow. And it ended. I have to click so many times. It ended 6 o'clock, the 25th, so it lasted exactly 2 days. 2 whole days of pure wind and rain. But now, what we have to check is that we have to check how much snow there's gonna be, and the closest observation that we have to that is just 20 miles to the north, Several Kerslick. Or no, we could find out on it. What am I talking about? Find out on it. So from the 23rd to the 25th. Why is that reloaded? So the 20. Yeah, it's going to be extremely windy. So it's from the 23rd. So it starts the 23rd, and you can see that. Now, let's see how much snow there's going to be. So it starts the 23rd. Yep, 43 miles an hour. And 1 to 3. But there's still going to be AM. So that's going to be probably about 4 inches. So 4 inches plus 3 to 5 inches. So let's just say the maximum amount that you could have 4 and 9 and then about 1 inch, so 10 and then it ends on the 25th. So we don't count that part, so 1 to 3 inches. So that's about maybe I'm gonna say a range between 10 and 15 inches of snow. That's a lot, and considering how much wind there is, and how much wind there is, and how is there so much accumulation of snow when there's so much wind. Now let's look at Tokyo. Tokyo, bro. Tokyo, bro. So it doesn't get affected that much. But it's it's gonna be cold. There's gonna be rain, snow, and wind. So it's gonna be pretty bad. Pretty bad, even for Tokyo. It's gonna be bad. So tonight, it's not gonna be bad. It's gonna be actually extremely nice. Now, here's where it starts. Sunday night, and then let's see how much. There's not gonna be, in the form of snow, there's gonna be probably like almost nothing. But in the form of rain, there's probably gonna be maybe about an inch or so. And then we have those super strong winds on Tuesday. Although it's gonna be sunny, it's gonna be cold. And yeah. Now, what's another place that was getting affected? Was Magadan? No. Yeah. Oh, we were supposed to start. Okay, we're supposed to end in a minute. So, as you can see, guys, this is an extremely strong storm, and just all of the storms. Pat, the one that starts with a Q that we didn't name yet, and the one that starts with an R that we're probably gonna name pretty soon. So, yeah, guys, that was those low pressure storms, and yeah. So yeah, you could see that that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, so it's gonna be just in general. It's gonna be all of those storms are gonna be extremely bad. The Q1's not gonna be as bad, but all in all, this is all the three storms are gonna be extremely strong. But anyway, guys, uh, thank you so much for watching. And so, yeah, those were those three storms.